It's been a while. Anyway, I watched Sorry to Bother You, the socialist dream movie, or at least I've seen the movie floated around left leaning subreddits and other places like that, and expected the movie to be like this kind of like pretty down to earth, close to the chest critique of capitalism, of somebody struggling to make ends meet in a society that only cares about your ability to provide a skill and not what you really mean as like a human being. So there is the dehumanizing aspect of capitalism in this movie, but it comes out in a way that is fantastical and almost conspiratorial garbage. There's no point in going over the plot because the plot is slow as nails, but fast as balls. Characters get they set the stage for like a love triangle with no setup. Like one day, the Asian guy shows up to the sign twirler girl, and it seemed like there was a scene missing that should have led to them having any kind of like connection at all. And it's very awkward. It honestly felt like they just fucked up in editing the movie and they forgot to like shoot a scene to make like some kind of connective tissue to why the scene that I was watching was even fucking happening, because the scene that preceded it made no sense in leading to the scene that went after it. It was fucking bewildering. Oh man. Okay, so does the movie hold up to being a good capitalist critique? Not really. I mean, it says it hits all the talking points of what socialists like to hear, but the problem is that as it's making those talking points, it undercuts them by having the characters who are espousing them make they either appear to be losers, they appear to be lazy freeloaders, or the reasons that they want healthcare is because they want to have free sex with anyone and not worry about getting STDs, which actually reinforces conservative talking points, because one of the conservative talking points for a while before the ACA was you don't need healthcare, you need to make better health choices, and I shouldn't have to pay for you eating an entire buffet, is what a lot of conservatards used to say. And this movie buys into that by having the person who advocates for healthcare for all, by him making a poor life choice, and then therefore he wants healthcare when he could just have less risky sex, right? Like, the movie constantly shoots itself in the foot with the critique of capitalism that it's giving. And then another character who's critiquing capitalism with this kind of art show, she puts on this bizarre, like, art show where she's reciting something about her tits, and then people are throwing cell phones and water balloons full of blood. It's almost like what a conservative would think liberal modern art is, or whatever. Like, it looks like garbage. It really is, and it goes on for a while. Okay, I'm gonna stop ragging on the movie so hard. The movie is very funny at points. It is incredibly fucking funny. There are one-off scenes of this movie that are like 10/10 in comedy, but the plot fucking stupid. And let's just get into the actually interesting part of the movie. So our main character makes his way up in the company, and then as he makes his way up in the company, he is a power seller or something, and he has to use his white voice. Now that part actually has some meat to chew on in terms of what it means for the story, because you have a black man being successful, but he can no longer carry that identity with him. He needs to change his identity to the dominant culture, which is white men, so that he can get along with his coworkers better, and he has to leave that identity behind. But the identity and the hustle that came with it is what allowed him to be successful in the first place. Now the film never wrestles with that, because the film's stupid, but that's an interesting thing to chew on. Anyway, the main guy goes to a party with like Steve Jobs analog, who the actor who plays this guy, I really like him. I've seen him in like one other thing. He's fucking great. And basically, he has main character snort some cocaine with a horse face on it on the plate, and then he watches a video, and basically the big reveal is that he wants to create a drug that will turn people into horses, and then they will work and they will be like more docile, and then they want the main character basically to be a MLK for the horse race, but like a kind of controlled opposition where he's gonna like control the revolution. He's going to be a fifth column in the new horse society. And they're already shifting over towards this with the kind of slave labor that this other company is like creating. And throughout the whole movie, they're like saying that the other company is like basically creating slavery because you like live there and you like share one bed with another stranger and you eat slop. So it's a little interesting. And I wasn't surprised by that at all. If I've spent some time in left-leaning spaces online, and it is a very common idea that managers, you know, the wealthy class envision laborers nothing more than chattel. So it's not much of an extension in the fantastical sense to just like actually turn people into a chattel class of species where they just work. I mean, Brave New World did this in 1920, where they have 5 distinct types of people, from like the alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, and then the fucking like the janitor people at the bottom or whatever the hell they were. So to me, that wasn't very surprising, and it actually felt like the movie was running out of steam in terms of like actual meaningful content, like actual heartfelt struggle, that they just threw a bunch of shit on the wall and were like, okay, we're just going to throw in some wild zinger. And then at the end of the film, the 3 horses show up and then they revolt and win. And the main character hits his nose and he turns into a horse. So apparently the cocaine in his nose was lodged and he didn't turn into a horse. But the villain guy who's talking to him for like 20 fucking minutes never questions why the thing isn't turning him into a horse ever. Like, I don't like why. It just seems stupid. And then like if you expect him to turn into a horse, why would you leave him out in public? Like, you should try to hold him like this. There was just like a huge like inconsistency. I wouldn't say it's like a plot hole, but it just seemed fucking stupid. But yeah, and then the editing wasn't good. There are times where it cuts in ways where the orientation of the character is either mirrored, so it totally fucks up with where characters are standing, or it'll cut in ways that are just very jarring and hard to understand. But that being said, I thought the performances were quite well. Even the side characters all did a good job. The Asian Socialist Union guy did a good job. I thought everyone did a great job. The white voices were hilarious. There's one moment where the black main character is asked to rap to a party of all these like rich white people. And, you know, give us, you know, of course you can rap, you're black. And he basically says, and I'm quoting here, nigga shit. And he just keeps repeating that. And then the audience says it. And that part was like euphorically hilarious, because you have to ask yourself, is he really saying nigga shit? Or is he saying like actual things, but it just sounds like nigga shit because they're white and they don't understand what he's saying? Like, I thought that part was interesting. Like, there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say there's any subtlety there, but there's something to, there's a kernel of an idea, and this movie has a lot of kernel of ideas, but none of them really ever develop into any kind of like coherent and cohesive plant or flower that is beautiful to look at. It really just kind of like pops into popcorn, and you chew it and then you're done with it within seconds. There's nothing really long lasting with the film, and I'm surprised that it gets talked about and praised as much as it does. But once again, that was just because I spent some time on left-leaning places online, and that's why I heard about it. So, yep, that's my review. I would give the movie like a 6 out of 10, but I think there are some scenes that are 10 out of 10 funny, but it's way too... I got 38 minutes into the film, I hit pause, and I was like, there's so much fucking movie left. Like, have mercy. Like, we didn't need so much attention to the relationship because it was resolved in no meaningful way, and the main guy should have stayed broken up. That was dumb. Like, it is stupid. So the movie's like a 6 out of 10, but there's some funny moments. And if you just want to be like my friend put it, if you want something to turn on where you're just going to be like, what the fuck, every 20 minutes or so, it's a great movie for that. So it's a good distraction, but I don't think it's actually I don't think it's good at what it sets out to be. Anyway, that's my review. Blow me.